जाने की जिद ना करो. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this episode of the show, Aaj Jaane Ki Zid Na Karo. A lot of people, when they have an interest in music, they try to perform. People like me, but there are a lot more. But there are few people who actually wants to demonstrate music, and the personality today we are having in our show is such a person. He's a musicologist. He has done more than hundreds of workshops on qawwali, ghazals, and classical music. Ladies and gentlemen, let us please welcome Ally Adnan Sahab.
Thank you
Sir,
so much.
welcome to our show. And thank you so much for actually take out some time for our show.
It's my pleasure.
First of all, sir, I would like to know that how are you and your family in this current pandemic situation?
We're keeping safe. We are being careful. And although there are times of a little restlessness and anxiety, we are doing well for the most part. Thank you for asking.
Sir, can I ask my first question?
Sure.
Okay, so a lot of people say that actually semi-classical music like qawwali, ghazal, and thumri, they actually, the importance of rag in such music is less. Can you please explain on this topic?
Yes, there is a general perception that if you are singing or performing one of the lighter genres of music like ghazal, geet, thumri, kafi, you are allowed to take some liberties with rag and pal. I generally do not subscribe to that. In these lighter forms, especially qawwali and ghazal and kafi and geet, you are allowed to deviate from one rag to another and to combine multiple rags into one song. However, you are not allowed to completely abandon rag and pal and sing a wavered song subject to no rules, no regulations, no stipulations of rhythm or melodic mode. So there is a permission to render a rag not in its complete purity, but there needs to be a discipline why you deviate from the rag, what other rags do you add to it, and how you do it. It has to be done with skill, intelligence, emotion, and nuance.
Thank you, sir, for your very informative answer. So I would like to ask you one more question, if I have your permission.
Sure.
So currently there is like fever of Western music in everywhere, and in a lot of music videos and Hindi movies and or Pakistani movies, we can see that qawwali has been fused with some Western instruments. So does it let qawwali to stay qawwali?
See, now qawwali is more than just music. It's an expression of love, of devotion, of intelligence, of awareness, of gnosis. So there are people who feel that adding or fusing elements of Western music to South Asian music can enhance the quality of the qawwali. Personally, I do not subscribe to that. I believe that qawwali should be performed the way it has been performed for 800 years, and it should be pure and pristine. However, it is a song of love, of peace, of freedom. So if there is someone who feels that they can add to their qawwali by fusing elements of Western music, I believe that they have the right to do so. I personally do not like that. Does it answer your question?
Yes, it was perfect. And actually, I also think that yes, obviously that qawwali can have a bit of liberty. We can have a bit of liberty in qawwali, but the purest form gives the best experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you, I would like to ask another question.
Sure.
If I have your permission.
Sure.
It's also related with qawwali that in recent times, qawwali has been presented with interludes. So does that affect, the way qawwali has been sung in its original way?
Now, what do you mean by interlude?
Like in Geets or Ghazals, we have break or, for example, a music in
Okay.
between few lines. But
Okay.
generally, we
You
don't
mean
see.
musical interlude. You mean
Yes, yes,
musical interlude. So here is
yes.
the thing. Anytime you have a strophic musical genre, and by strophic I means where all the stanzas have similar structure, there is the risk of the song becoming monotonous. And therefore, interludes are introduced in which we have the tabla laggi or the khadun, as it's called in Punjab, to give some variety, some life to the song. And also, it allows the percussionist or the dancer to demonstrate his or her skills. Now, it depends as far as the interludes or the laggis in Qawwali go, it depends on the underlying genre. If you are singing the Chota Khayal in Qawwali or Bandish Ki Thumri, or a call or a basit or a kalbana, then I do not think that an interlude is appropriate. But if you are rendering a bol banao ki thumri, if you are rendering a ghazal, if you are rendering a traditional geet, then there is a place and there is a tradition of using laggi or the musical interlude. So it depends on the underlying genre because Qawwali can be performed in many, many genres, both of music and of poetry. Okay?
Thank you, sir, for your question. And actually, this is what I was searching for a few days because, really speaking, I'm from Bangladesh, and
Yeah.
here we don't have much scope to learn actual. I mean, to learn about the actual classical music or every parts of the classical music.
That surprises me because for me, Bangladesh is a very musical country. A lot of people sing and they sing very well.
Yes, but I think they. I'm sorry. I don't want to disturb anyone, but actually, the traditional things. I mean, here people. I think they are more on to new things rather than carrying the traditions.
Okay. Okay. That's sad if that's true.
Yeah, actually, that's sad. Okay, so if you, I mean, I would like to ask you another question.
Sure.
Nowadays, lots of there are. I have heard a lot of very good ghazal singers, and they are very melodious. But one thing I think it hit me a bit that they start the ghazal from the first sher or any sher they like, rather than from the matla. So, don't you think it somehow affects the originality of ghazal?
Well, there is a certain amount of freedom that an artist has. But if you look at the traditional performance of ghazal in music, there are two distinct parts in South Asian music. There is the asthai, which is the first part of the composition, and there are the antara, which is the second and subsequent parts of the song. The ghazal is structured in such a way that the matla or the first opening shir of the ghazal lends itself to becoming the asthai, and the subsequent shares or couplets of the ghazal become very good antaras. So I like ghazal in which the matla is used as asthai, and then the mukhra of the asthai is used as the refrain, and in which all the rest of the shares of the ghazal are used as the antaras. So to answer your question, yes, I have seen them start, some singers start wherever they want, but I don't necessarily think that's a good idea. And I think it's a deviation from tradition that does not add any value to the institution of ghazal. Okay.
I say thank you for your answer. And sir, one thing about ghazal, which is the uniqueness of ghazal from other poetry genres, is that the meter or beher. So, can you
Yeah.
please explain me a bit on beher?
Okay. Now, Beher of ghazal is loosely translated as meter, and it defines the length and rhythmic structure of the hemistichs or the misras of a ghazal. A ghazal has a number of couplets. Each couplet is known as sher, and each couplet consists of two misras. The first one known as Misra Ula, and the second one known as Misra Sani. These can be translated into hemistichs in Western languages or English language. Okay. Now, Beher defines the length of each one of the hemistichs, and it also defines the rhythmic structure of the hemisphere. Now, Beher came like Ghazal into South Asia from 7th century Arabic poetry. It's based on the Qasida, which predates Islam and is thousands of years old, by the Umayyad Caliphate. One part of the Qasida, known as the Nasib, had evolved into the Ghazal. And then through other countries, Ghazal came to South Asia. So the meter or Beher of Ghazal comes from Arabic poetry traditions. Now, the Beher is composed of units known as Rukan. And Rukan are dummy words of poetic prosody, Urdu prosody, that are used to define the placement and the length of syllables in the words that are used in the Ghazal. So, not only the length of each one of the misras is defined by Beher, but also its structure. So when you sing a ghazal in 7 beats Rupak or 8 beats Kehrwa or 6 beats Dadra, there is an underlying connection to the Beher that establishes the right number of beats that should be used in the cycle in which the ghazal is sung. So that answer your question?
Yes, it was very informative. Thank you for that. And I think I have asked you questions about Qawwali Ghazal shortly, but I think now it's time for a very important part of classical music.
Sure.
And this is the Tarana. So I've been inspired by a lot of, Tarana especially, to learn classical music because, truly speaking, I don't understand what it says, but the mystical, you can say, stage it takes us. I think this is, I cannot find that in any other forms of music.
Now, the Tarana was developed by Hazrat Amir Khusro, and it's a song that is composed of phonemes of Arabic, Persian, and Turkish languages. Tana dere na, nadirdani, tunderdani, jalali jalali, these sort of words. A lot of people believe that these words do not have meaning, but the fact is that they do have meaning. Jalala, ya Allah, jalali, ya Ali. Nadirdani, I do not know anything. Tudani, you know everything. Daria, come towards me. Tandaria, come towards me and become one with me. So these words are combined and they create a very good effect. Now, if you look at khayal, the main genre of classical music in North Indian music or Hindustani Sangeet today, it has 3 parts. You have the alap, you have the vilambit or bada khayal sung in slow motion, a slow tempo, and then you have the drut or the chota khayal sung in faster tempo. Sometimes singers replace the drut or the chota khayal with the tarana, which is sung either in medium or mad tempo or in fast or drut tempo. So these are beautiful songs, and the reason that I personally like Tarana a lot is that for different people, it means different things. I may interpret the words of Tarana in one way, and you may interpret them in a different way. And that adds a little beauty because it gives the singer the ability to establish unique personal relationships with each one of the listeners. So that's that. Anything else about Tarana?
So thank you so much for your answers and your time you have been with us. So would you like to say something for our viewers?
The only thing I'd say is that these are surreal, strange times when a lot of us are homebound. So it would be a good time to do things that we have not been able to do due to the humdrum and the being busy in our lives. So it would be a good time to contemplate, to study, and to enjoy good music and good poetry. That's it.
Thank you, sir, for joining with us.
My pleasure.
So, viewers, I think it's time for us to take a leave. And this video will be, inshallah, uploaded in YouTube within 2 to 3 days. And I hope everyone would like to watch Ally Adnan Sahab explaining all the current situation of Qawwali, Ghazal, Thumri, and Tarana. And I would like to say everyone stay safe and stay home as much as they can, because we have to go out for certain reasons. So but without reasons we should not be out. And that's it. Thank you everyone for being with us. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir.